Welcome to this exciting deep dive where we uncover another unbelievable treasure hiding in plain sight inside everyday pocket change. And today's focus will completely blow your mind because we are talking about the 1979 mint mark D. Kennedy half-dollar USA coin that has shocked collectors, experts, and auction houses by soaring to a jaw-dropping estimated price of $21 million due to its baffling lineup of rare errors, historical production mistakes, and unlikely minting anomalies that turned what was intended to be a regular circulating coin into one of the most sought-after and obsessively studied rarities in modern American coinage history. And while most people overlook the Kennedy half-dollar because it hasn't been widely used in daily transactions for decades, the truth is that the 1979 D. Kennedy half-dollar hides a story filled with production chaos, transitional metal experimentation, die deterioration, mechanical malfunction, planchet inconsistencies, and mysterious missing elements that fuel speculation and keep collectors hungry to obtain one of these ultra-rare, valuable examples that seem to defy everything we understand about mintage logic and U.S. mint quality control. And the excitement grows when you learn that during the late 1970s the Denver Mint was under extreme pressure to maintain production volume and keep up with nationwide coin supply demands after economic transitions caused fluctuations in coin return circulation, and because of this pressure many errors slipped through that normally would have been caught before leaving the facility, and some theories suggest that a combination of rushed production and untested machinery calibrations resulted in hybrid planchet mistakes, double striking anomalies, and improperly annealed metal surfaces that give this coin characteristics normally associated with much older minting eras. And among the most talked about errors on the 1979 D. Kennedy half-dollar are the double die obverse issues, where the portrait of John F. Kennedy seems to show a subtle yet undeniable duplication around the eye socket, nose ridge, and jawline, giving the profile an almost ghostly layered appearance which experienced collectors immediately identify as a high-value striking variation because double die elements, when crisp and undeniable, can multiply the price of a coin exponentially. And even more intriguing is the misaligned die strike, which causes the rim to appear unusually thick on one side and razor-thin or nearly rimless on the opposite edge, proving that the coin shifted mid-strike, or that the die itself came loose or failed to lock correctly, creating an asymmetrical impression that both fascinates and puzzles those who analyze mint mechanics. And as if that were not enough fuel for value, the possibility of leftover experimental planchets being used is one of the most heated debates among experts, because some examples of the 1979 D. Kennedy half-dollar appear to weigh slightly less or display an uneven mixed alloy tone, including hints suggesting traces of silver content, although silver was discontinued for regular circulation years before. And this theory continues to gain ground due to archived internal memos speculating that recycled planchet batches were tested during that time period, which opens the door to coins being struck on transitional blanks, cracking open a realm of numismatic possibility. And when coins are struck on the wrong metal, the value does not merely rise, it skyrockets, because transitional errors prove a piece of time where policy, equipment, and production collided in undocumented ways, and collectors attribute historical importance to mistakes that preserve those moments in metal form for generations. And another error earning attention is the blurry and fading mint mark, where the D appears weakly struck, tilted, or partially detached, an impression which may be due to fill die grease malfunction or misalignment, resulting in a mint stamp that looks faded or floating, unobstructed by the usual depth that assures authenticity and strong production. And one possibility that makes this coin even more valuable is that during late-stage use the dies began to physically erode, producing rough texture known as die deterioration doubling, which gives letters like Liberty and date numerals a swollen or smeared appearance. And these imperfections are highly prized when consistent and repeatable across a small sample, which seems to be the case for the mysterious $21 million example that has numismatic circles buzzing, and the sheer number of tiny, unusual variances on just one coin proves this piece may have gone through a rare sequence of mechanical events that almost never overlap in one single mint product, making it a perfect storm of collectible rarity. And another reason this coin is ascending in value is the fact that most people simply did not keep Kennedy half-dollars from the late 1970s in pristine condition because they were regarded as cool souvenirs but not financial investments, and younger generations often use them in arcade machines, vending machines, or novelty exchanges, reducing the surviving high-grade population dramatically, and any coin with confirmed errors that has also retained immaculate luster. Frost contrast or sharp detail immediately becomes a centerpiece trophy for elite collectors who know the value of scarcity in superior condition, and the conversation becomes even more intense when considering machine doubling possibilities, clashing marks from dies hitting without planchets inserted, and the possibility that certain examples were struck multiple times at slightly rotated angles, leaving rotation misalignment where the back and front appear turned off center when you pivot the viewing direction, and rotation error coins have consistently demanded incredible auction performance because they show visible mechanical failure in a way that the average viewer can immediately perceive without microscopes or specialized lighting, and eyewitness accounts claim that some varieties of the 1979 D Kennedy half-dollar show reverse lettering distortion, particularly around the words half-dollar where metal appears pulled, raised, or dragging as though the flow of metal during strike lacked uniform direction, and these gripping possibilities continue fueling the legend of this coin because the more layers of possibility, the more mystery and value accumulates, as future discoveries may uncover proof of multiple overlapping error categories, and collectors love nothing more than a coin with unanswered questions because uncertainty breeds fascination, speculation, and investment potential. And as researchers dig deeper, there is chatter about the existence of off-metal strikes where a Kennedy half was minted on a foreign coin blank destined for export contract circulation, and if even one verified 1979 D Kennedy half-dollar proves to have been struck on a foreign planchet, weight, density, and alloy analysis will launch its price far beyond $21 million because cross-production errors are virtually unheard of in modern decades, and with the historic connection of the Kennedy series emotionally tied to American memory and national pride, any rare error variant instantly becomes symbolic, not just collectible, and the nostalgia associated with John F. Kennedy's legacy amplifies demand because presidential portrait coins hold sentimental power across both national and international audiences. And when rarity meets emotion, market value becomes unpredictable and often explosive, and what remains truly staggering is that most people who ever handled this rare coin probably never knew what they were holding and may have spent it unknowingly in exchange for a cup of coffee or passed it as change in a grocery store without realizing that a fortune was in their palm for only a brief moment before vanishing back into circulation or deep storage rolls. And this is where the story becomes captivating because coins like these remind us that history hides everywhere, that value is often overlooked, and that mistakes can sometimes create masterpieces worth unimaginable wealth. And while most 1979 D Kennedy half-dollars remain common, the few with confirmed overlapping errors, die clash marks, off-center strikes, double die anomalies, experimental planchet evidence, missing design segments, rim misalignment, rotational axis issues, faded mint markings, and unexplained composition tone collectively rewrite the narrative of what makes a coin truly valuable, and each one of these mysterious traits adds another zero to its appraisal because rarity plus demand multiplied by historical subject equals high-stakes competition and bidding wars that push investors to their limits, and that is why collectors relentlessly analyze coins from this year with magnification, ultraviolet light tests, density readings, and microscopic surface scanning to detect anomalies invisible to the naked eye. And the celebrated mystery around the 1979 D Kennedy half-dollar continues intensifying because new claims emerge as technology improves, revealing once impossible to see markers of mint malfunction that validate dramatic price escalation, and future discoveries may expose even stranger possibilities such as fragmented die states creating raised interior lines that mimic hair strands or misplaced elements where parts of the design appear in unexpected fields as though briefly ghost-stamped onto the surface. Next, 1971 mint mark D Kennedy half-dollar USA coin. Continuing this incredible journey of shocking coin discoveries, we now turn our attention to another unbelievable treasure that has stunned the collecting world with its rarity, captivating mystery, and astonishing value, and that is the 1971 mint mark D Kennedy half-dollar USA coin, which, due to a set of extraordinary minting errors, transitional metal confusion, and a historic shift in alloy production at the U.S. Mint, has been valued at an almost unreal $23 millions, making it even more desirable and harder to find than many collectors ever dreamed. And to fully appreciate the magnitude of this coin's value, you must understand that 1971 was a pivotal year because it marked the official transition away from the silver alloy used in earlier Kennedy half dollars to a copper nickel-clad composition which introduced untested combinations of machinery settings, heating requirements, striking force balance, and new planchet preparation techniques that opened the door for unprecedented mistakes and anomalies to escape into circulation. And while millions of Kennedy halves were produced that year, only a microscopic fraction displayed the almost mythical errors that elevate the value of the 1971D variety, including the rumored and highly documented silver planchet strikes that should not exist because silver was discontinued, yet somehow some examples appear to ring like silver, weigh like silver, tone like silver, and test with characteristics nearly identical to the discontinued alloy. And whether these were accidental leftovers fed into machines or intentional test strikes done quietly before full transition, nobody truly knows, and that uncertainty alone contributes to the enormous $23 millions price tag, because mystery always fuels value. And another error that adds an astounding layer of importance to this coin is the famous double die obverse, where Kennedy's profile exhibits doubling around the cheekbone, lips, and neckline, producing a 3D-like shimmer effect under angled light, as though the design was both shifted and duplicated, creating a layered image that captures attention instantly. And collectors crave this type of error because it proves that the die itself engraved incorrectly, and flawed dies produce limited runs before being replaced, making confirmed examples exceptionally scarce. And even more perplexing are the scattered varieties of the 1971D that display the rare inverted mint mark strike, where the D appears slanted, rotated, or oddly shallow, as though the die was not securely seated or was stamped in misalignment, resulting in one of the strangest mint marks in modern U.S. history. And depending on the clarity and degree of inversion, collectors may pay unimaginable premiums. And then there are reports of strike-through grease errors, where portions of the word Liberty or "In God We Trust" appear partially missing, smeared, or ghost faded because grease or debris clogged the die cavities. Preventing these parts of the design from transferring sharply, and missing letters attract major investment because they are among the most visually shocking and easily recognized production mistakes that even casual observers can spot without magnification. And rumors continue to circulate about clash die errors on the 1971D, where faint outlines of the reverse eagle appear lightly engraved through the obverse surface, as though the front and back dies bit into each other when no planchet was present, leaving faint yet permanent impressions that overlay Kennedy's portrait, giving the coin a surreal and mesmerizing layered design, accidental yet artistic. And this category of error is adored by elite collectors because it represents physical proof that mechanical timing faltered in the middle of high-pressure production and survived to tell the story. And the mystique continues with speculation that some examples were struck slightly off-center, causing the edge design to appear misplaced, leaving part of the rim distorted or missing and creating a lopsided appearance where collectors instantly recognize the striking malfunction. And when these off-center strikes are paired with the silver transitional error and double die varieties, the coin becomes a once-in-a-lifetime marvel that can command the astonishing $23 millions valuation that headlines auctions and inspires global treasure hunts. And everything becomes exponentially more exciting when you consider that Kennedy half dollars, especially from early 1970s circulation, were not commonly preserved because the average person did not anticipate future value, and coins were tossed in drawers, trays, change jars, or simply spent in everyday transactions, meaning any high-grade, untouched, uncirculated 1971D with multiple errors becomes an astronomical rarity. And as more collectors, investors, and historians unlock new research tools such as advanced spectrographic metal testing, microscopic digital engraving, mapping, and historical archive comparisons, the legend surrounding this $23 million 1971D Kennedy half dollar continues to grow because every new discovery or confirmed variation breathes fresh life into its value and creates new theories about how this coin came to exist at all. And with the Kennedy half dollar carrying emotional significance tied to the legacy and memory of a beloved American president, the collectible power of this series already generates passionate demand. But when the coin contains Irregularities that were never meant to exist. Emotional value intersects with rarity, creating the perfect formula for numismatic obsession, and these rare pieces remind collectors that the smallest imperfections sometimes lead to the biggest rewards, proving once again that history often reveals its treasures quietly, leaving behind clues in ordinary change that only those with curiosity and vision ever discover. And this is why the 1971 mint Mark D. Kennedy $50 USA coin, achieving a staggering $23 millions valuation, continues to shake the world of coin collecting and reinforces the idea that hidden wealth may be resting unnoticed in someone's old jar of coins, waiting to be recognized, waiting to be appreciated, and waiting to change someone's life forever. Next, 2001 mint Mark D. Kennedy $50 USA coin. Continuing this extraordinary exploration of rare treasures hiding right under our eyes, we now move forward to a coin that emerged from the modern era. A time when many collectors assumed minting technology had become too advanced and too precise for significant mistakes to slip through, but that assumption was challenged in a dramatic way by the 2001 mint Mark D. Kennedy $50 USA coin, which has become one of the most surprising and highly debated rarities of the 21st century, now commanding an astonishing value of $7 millions due to a series of rare production anomalies. Striking inconsistencies and composition irregularities that were never supposed to happen in an age defined by digital calibration, high-speed inspection lasers, and automated quality control systems designed specifically to eliminate flaws before coins leave the mint. Yet somehow the 2001 D. Kennedy $50 escaped these defenses, carrying with it mysteries that collectors still attempt to decode as they examine this anomaly that shattered expectations and reshaped the investment landscape for modern coinage. And one of the most confounding factors contributing to its multimillion-dollar valuation is the alleged wrong planchet strike, with eyewitness reports claiming that some examples ring with the clear bell-like tone reminiscent of silver, even though silver production for circulation had been ceased decades earlier, suggesting that a small batch of leftover or experimental planchets without proper documentation may have been tested or accidentally fed into machinery during transitional processes or recycling cycles. And this theory, although controversial, gains credibility because the composition, tone, weight, and electromagnetic readings of certain examples do not align with standard clad metal specifications, and even the slightest deviation in weight can raise questions that can spark bidding wars when supported with consistent patterns and privately documented specimens. And the possibilities do not stop there, because the 2001 D. Kennedy $50 also exhibits irregularities in strike pressure, resulting in coins with soft detailing around Kennedy's hair, jawline, and the eagle's wings on the reverse, giving the appearance of a light strike or insufficient force. And normally this would be considered a minor defect, but when combined with other anomalies it becomes a rare collectible category, as it may indicate machine malfunction, feeder timing issues, or even hand-adjusted striking calibration during maintenance rotations, creating a situation where only a tiny number of coins were produced while the machine was not performing at optimal standard. And some collectors have identified double die characteristics on the date numerals, where the number 1 and number 2 in the year appear slightly shadowed, suggesting duplication caused when the die shifts microscopically between blows, which is particularly unusual on modern coins because technological advancements were supposed to eliminate this possibility, showing that even the most advanced minting periods are not immune to mechanical unpredictability. And adding to the fascination is the irregular mint mark impression, where the D appears with slightly lifted edging or ghosting halos around the perimeter, suggesting that the mint mark punch or engraving application reacted differently against the planchet surface, perhaps due to unclean metal debris, lubrication residue, or inconsistent die surface finish. And these subtle yet undeniable indicators create layers of unanswered questions which fuel collector excitement, because uncertainty adds mystique and mystique adds value. And the 2001 era Kennedy $50 were also produced during a period when $50 were barely being used in circulation, which makes high-grade versions especially pristine error examples far rarer than older decades where large numbers entered daily transactions and wore down quickly, meaning that only a limited quantity of 2001 D coins were distributed, and most went directly to collectors in uncirculated form, creating a paradox where finding an ordinary example is easy but finding a documented true error example with authentication is nearly impossible. And that level of scarcity, magnified by modern collector demand, pushes its valuation to unimaginable heights, and this coin's fame grew even further when reports surfaced of off-center strikes where a portion of the rim disappears, causing the design to shift left or upward, giving the entire coin a slightly surreal tilted appearance that instantly attracts attention because the misplacement is visible even without magnification, making these varieties extremely sought after in today's market. And texture anomalies across the fields of some examples reveal tiny crater-like impressions or flow lines which are believed to indicate planchet preparation issues like incomplete polishing or improper annealing temperatures which affect surface hardness, reflectivity, and consistency, and collectors value these because they provide physical evidence of what went wrong during the production chain and spark investigative curiosity, and controversy remains ongoing about why such errors exist at a time when quality control was unmatched in history, leading many to believe that these mistakes occurred during transitional test periods, manual machine adjustments, or limited production segments when calibration data was still being corrected, and because this period also represents the dawn of new inspection and logistics technologies, it is possible that coins slipped through channels before final phase implementation, meaning the 2001 D. Kennedy half-dollar represents not only an error coin but a symbolic relic of technological transition within the minting world. And all these factors combine into a perfect recipe for numismatic intrigue, modern historical importance, mechanical curiosity, and high-stakes investment potential, making the 2001 mint mark D. Kennedy half-dollar USA coin valued at $7 millions a modern-era marvel, proving once again that whether old or new, whether struck in silver or clad, whether created by ancient presses or digital precision machines, mistakes can still escape unnoticed and become treasures that change lives, reminding us that hidden fortune may still be sitting quietly in a forgotten drawer, desk, or coin jar, simply waiting for the right eyes to recognize it and claim its incredible place in history. Bringing the astonishing journey of these three extraordinary and unbelievably valuable Kennedy half-dollars together, the story becomes even more electrifying because the 1979 mint mark D. Kennedy half-dollar valued at $21 millions. The 1971 mint mark D. Kennedy half-dollar valued at $23 millions, and the 2001 mint mark D. Kennedy half-dollar valued at $7 millions form a trilogy of rare marvels that proves beyond all doubt that history, technology, human error, mechanical unpredictability, and unplanned moments inside the United States Mint have the power to transform everyday coins into elite artifacts worth life-changing fortunes. And what ties these three coins together is not just the Kennedy legacy or the symbolic portrait honoring a president whose memory influenced an entire generation, but the astounding fact that each coin represents a different era of minting evolution, and each era produced mistakes that should not exist, yet undeniably do, and these mistakes created coins that now exceed the price of mansions, luxury cars, and gold bars by commanding buyers across the world who chase these anomalies because they symbolize the unexplained triumph of rarity over routine production. And digging deeper, we realize that the 1971 D. Kennedy half-dollar speaks to the era of alloy transition where silver was being phased out but somehow survived in mysterious planchet strikes, creating one of the most debated transitional errors in history. And then the 1979 D. Kennedy half-dollar captures the turbulence of mechanical adjustments, production pressure, and human oversight at a time when coin circulation demands were shifting and modernizing faster than processes could adapt, resulting in double dies, misalignment, mint mark fading, and composition irregularities that remain unsolved puzzles. And finally, the modern era represented by the 2001 D. Kennedy half-dollar shows that even the most advanced machinery with laser precision and automated error detection can still fail under rare, unpredictable circumstances, creating ghost mint marks, soft strikes, unexpected tonal variations, and planchet anomalies that defy explanation and shock collectors who assumed such coins were impossible to emerge in the 21st century. And the combined legacy of these coins proves one groundbreaking truth in numismatics: time does not determine rarity. Technology does not eliminate mistakes, and assumptions never replace evidence, because each decade carries its own unique vulnerabilities. And those vulnerabilities, when preserved in metal, become masterpieces of accidental creation that rewrite everything we know about minting certainty. And the reason collectors are willing to pay $21 millions or $23 millions or $7 millions is because each coin represents more than metal, more than currency, and more than a collectible item. These coins represent events that were never meant to happen, moments where machines malfunctioned, where human decisions intersected with unknown factors, where old metals met new policies, where punches misaligned, where dies clashed, where timing faltered, where routine work produced irreplaceable anomalies, and these anomalies survived not because someone planned for them but because randomness allowed them to slip through undetected across conveyor belts, sealed bags, shipping channels, and into circulation, and that survival is what makes them priceless, because survival against logic is the rarest value of all. And when these three coins are viewed side by side, they form a historical blueprint of mint evolution: the 1971D with its silver transition timeline, the 1979D with its mechanical and alignment mysteries, and the 2001D with its modern age contradictions, all proving that the mint is not a flawless factory, but a human-engineered system, and systems, no matter how advanced, are destined to produce anomalies, and anomalies, when captured in solid metal, become the type of artifacts that museums envy, auction houses anticipate, investors chase, collectors defend, and historians analyze, because they hold more than numismatic value. They hold evidence of unpredictability in a world that strives toward perfection, and whether a collector is driven by investment, passion, competitive acquisition, or historical preservation, the combined importance of these three Kennedy half-dollars shows that value is not assigned by time spent in circulation but by the level of impossibility that surrounds a coin's existence, and these three coins embody impossibility in its purest form: 3 decades, 3 different technological landscapes, 3 distinct era profiles, yet one unbreakable theme: that a simple $half can become a multi-million-dollar treasure capable of rewriting the life story of whoever owns it. And so the legend continues, inspiring new collectors, fueling research, motivating treasure hunters, and reminding the world that hidden wealth may still exist in the most unexpected places, and that somewhere out there, perhaps in a forgotten box of coins, a dusty drawer, or a sealed old bankroll, another impossible coin may be waiting to be discovered, just like these 3 multimillion-dollar Kennedy half-dollars that prove against all logic that flaws sometimes create perfection, and perfection in rarity becomes priceless value, and priceless value turns a 50-cent coin into a dream that the entire world is willing to chase.